you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear you.
Good, I can hear you too. I can see you also. You're pointing to your head. I promise I won't swear anymore now that
Were you swearing, Andra?
I misheard something that was said on the other end, and then I repeated it, and they said, no, we didn't say that word. So now we've got...
I can hear you.
I can hear you. Okay, we'll stop with that. I want to welcome everyone here this evening for a presentation of the work that Kathy Kennedy, Kok Siew Wai, and I have been doing for the last 2 weeks. And tonight's presentation is part of the Soundwalking Interactions research project, which is generously funded by the Fonds québécois de recherche sur les sociétés et la culture. And I particularly want to thank David Paquette and Caitlin Loney for their assistance in setting everything up tonight and in their research
all of a sudden.
So we're just hearing random things from the other end. Okay, good.
All of a sudden turns it off.
So the Soundwalking Interactions research project is a project about audience interactions with soundwalk works and works made from soundwalks. So if you have any response to what you hear tonight, either speak up at some point or contact us through the website, which is up here. And tonight's presentation is also sponsored by the Mobile Media Lab. And so I'd like to invite Kim Sawchuk to say a few words.
Thank you, Andra. I always feel weird standing with a microphone in front of a crowd. I just want to thank Andra for doing all this work in organizing this event, and I'd like to also thank the members of the Mobile Media Lab who are videotaping this and helping with this, Jamie Robson and Antonia Hernandez. Back there on the end. I don't know what to say about the lab. We've been going since about 2006 trying to do kind of both social science, humanities, and experimental creative research work around the idea and theme of mobilities, and that involves things like sponsoring events like Andra's work on sound walking when we can, as well as anything else anybody can think of that has to do not only about who we are in a place, but how we move through that space and how that may change through time, and and all those things. So that's it.
Thank you.
Andra.
Thanks, Kim.
I'd also like to welcome Kok Siew Wai here, who I met in Malaysia years ago, and to our friends Hal in Kuala Lumpur, who've also hosted many of us very generously over the past couple of years.
So I don't know if you're hearing that, Hal. We were just saying that we really appreciate the link with the Multimedia University. And so I'd like to invite you to say hello to everyone here if you would like to. There you are. Hal?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, good, because I'm not hearing me, so that's all right. It's 9:05 in the morning here. We're 12 hours ahead of you. And of course, as you know, university students and some of our colleagues are notorious for not being morning people. Perhaps we should have flipped this around and you be in the morning and we be in the evening. Because this space that we're in, which you can see is very big, it's also very empty. And it's usually not like this. It's usually full of students. There's Peter. Peter Wood.
Hi, Peter.
Good part of our audience. So, yes, he's the audience and I'm the audience and Sahar is the audience. And there's a couple of students we're going to drag out of their rooms One of the, yes, we'll just get little cardboard faces and put them on the chairs.
Oh, sounds good.
One of the things that Kim and I have been talking about for a long time, and Andra, when she was here, we talked about it, was to get shared events across time and space, and this is sort of one of them, on a bigger scale, perhaps. The first one we did here was when K-Space opened, and we actually had Kim up on our big screen for the entire hour and a half of the opening, which was quite phenomenal. I think we had a better internet connection last time. She was very big because we had, we have this big screen here. As you well know, it's a big smart board, and Kim was, like big brother or big sister up there on the screen. So that's one of the things we've been trying to do, and I think we need to get a dedicated high-speed broadband connection to do that. So I don't want to yammer on anymore. Thank you for hosting and welcoming our colleague into Hexagram and Concordia. I've heard she's having a really good time, and I've given her a list of things to do in Montreal, but I have a doubt that she's going to get enough time to go and do them, but I think Andrew will make sure that they are taken care of. Schwartz's Delicatessen up on St. Lawrence, and the Fairmount Bagel Factory, and wherever else you think she should see in Montreal. How's the weather?
Nice.
Still cold.
Oh, okay. Over here. As it always is. Anyway, why don't we just go ahead and let the audience on that side of the world enjoy what there is to share.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll listen here, okay?
Thank you, Hal.
Thank you, and we'll see how to get this working even better.
Okay, thanks, Hal. Enjoy the show. Next we have two pieces by former students in the MA in Media Studies, both of which are connected with soundwalking practices. The first one is by Lisa Gasior. Lisa did a project called Listening Guide to Griffintown, and this was a project where she interviewed former residents of this area. Lisa, unfortunately, is not able to be here tonight. She was hoping to be here, but she's now a Ubisoft employee and is on a plane coming back from LA and a recording session. So she sent a recorded piece that is a kind of summary of the work that she did on this listening guide of Griffintown.
This piece is a collection of sounds gathered for my master's thesis, Sound in Griffintown. The 40-minute listening guide evolved from a love of the present-day soundscape of industrial Griffintown to include the voices of that space, both past and present. These are the sounds that inspired me most on my journey. They are voices, my own and those of old Griffintowners. They are hums and drones of machines, F1 race cars, and factories. And they are even treasures of Griffintown's past. An actual recording of the bells of St. Anne's Church, torn down in 1970.
There were lots of sounds and it wasn't quiet. And neighbors heard neighbors and kids screamed on the street and whistles blew and...
Do you remember hearing the boats go through the canal?
Oh,
They would come around and they would yell, "Rights! Bottles!"
Lena Blickstead pounding that has an organ up there. There's a gorgeous organ in that church.
And you hear the hoofs of the horses hitting the cobblestones.
I took it so for granted.
I guess it's like people living close to an airport these days. I mean, you don't, after a while, you don't even notice it anymore.
Everybody was leaving Griffintown at 56, 57.
I left Griffintown when I was married. On June 6, 1953, I was married.
The address was 273 McCord, and I lived there permanently until I moved away from Griffintown to Point St. Charles.
And when was that?
That was in 1960.
We left Griffintown when we got married on the 25th of September, 1954.
The 53, 1953.
Yeah, it was around 53.
53 we left Griffintown.
And once the church closed, then the school closed, and once the school closed and the church was gone, there was very little left of what was once the community.
I don't know, I miss Griffintown. So did I.
Can't do nothing about it.
No.
But I think what makes Griffintown are the people. Like I have to say the people that I know are the Griffintowners, that know the best. I can greet them. We went to school together, and there's a real bond between us. Griffintown is gone now, but most of us, it lives in our hearts.
You won't find anyone saying, well, trying to hide your past.
Yeah, but poor old Griffintown is finished.
For the full listening guide, please visit griffinsound.ca.
So the next piece is by Thulin, who did a project sounding various forms of Montreal transit, from walking to busing to metro. And I thought I'd ask Sam if he had anything he wants to say about it.
Thanks, Andra. This was a project that I did investigating public transportation and mobile listening practices in Montreal. And so what I did was compose a piece of music intended to be listened to while traveling through the city on a specific route that involved walking, taking a bus, and taking a metro. So I went on this route a bunch of times and made field recordings of the route, and then using only that material, I transformed the recordings into a piece of music and invited people to take the same route while listening to that music. So the entire piece is about 40 minutes, but I'm just going to play 3 clips about a minute each from the 3 movements. That is, walking will be played first, followed by taking the bus, followed by taking the metro.
So the balance of the work tonight is all from work done either last year as a result of my initial meeting with Kok Siew Wai and her class in Kuala Lumpur, and but mostly from the 2 weeks ending with tonight, because Kok Siew Wai has been here since April 5th. So I met Kathy Kennedy almost 20 years ago, and At that time, I was fascinated by her approach to working with people and sound to uncover and discover public space. And particularly in her sonic choreographies, where she would go through the halls of Hydro-Quebec or Montreal City Hall with her intrepid choir, including Kim Sawchuk, until they got thrown out anyway. More recently, Kathy has had the Hum project, which you will hear about more later in tonight's show, where hundreds of people hummed at once on Saint Laurent's Mail, on that line that bisects the cultures of the city. And that project has also taken place in several other cities around Canada. I met Kok Siew Wai just last year. I went to Kuala Lumpur initially with the intention of doing a sound walk in the bird park there. And the bird park claims to be the largest free flight bird park in Asia. But actually, that wasn't such a great idea, as it turned out. The bird park was not completely free flight. In fact, many of the birds were in isolated cages, and I didn't really want to contribute further to a situation that I didn't particularly like. It was also quite expensive and hard to get to compared with other parts of the city. So instead, we decided to do a sound walk around the central train station of Mashijamek, which is right in the middle of downtown. And it's a historically important area because it's the place where the two rivers meet. The name of Kuala Lumpur refers to the meeting of these two rivers, and it's very important for the history of the city as a trading center. So everywhere around that Mashijamek train station was where the three main cultures of Kuala Lumpur meet. So we went around the mosque, around the outside of the mosque, and then through Little India, and then through Chinatown. And as a way of communicating with the students in Kuala Lumpur afterwards, I made a short video based on the sound walk that we did together. And so that's Kuala Lumpur Downtown Sound Walk, and so we'll play that short video now. last couple of weeks we've done 3 sound walks. The first one was in the Old Port, and Kok Siew Wai and I did that all together. And then Siew Wai and I also did a sound walk on Montreal, and another one that was around markets, Jean Talon Market and the Thai Hour Market up near Jean Talon. So the next 2 pieces that you're going to hear are both based on those sound walks. The first one is called Approaching Spring, and the second one is called To Market, To Market. So Approaching Spring has a bit of an introduction. He is a sergeant major calling to his troops. He is an operatic tenor, drawn to the canal, wanting to mate. He's walking in the new wet grass. He's calling. Do you hear him? From the marsh, from the fields, from the skies. have something to add from the last piece. So one of the recordings that was used as a basis was not from Montreal at all. You probably figured that out. It was from Kuala Lumpur, from the Pudu wet market, and that was a recording that Siew Wai had made. How long before you came did you make that recording? Was that recent? Last year? Yeah. So we mixed those recordings together with the time market being an interesting kind of fulcrum between the Jean Talon and the... Hey, we got people there. Actually, the camera's over there, so if we want to wave, we kind of wave in that direction. So we're now moving to a couple more videos. A video of the Hum Project by Kathy Kennedy, and then after that will be a video that Siew Wai just made, just finishing today. Just as the sound pieces were also just finished today. And that includes vocal improvisation with the three of us.
CKT 90.3 FM Montreal. Welcome, we are a treat to hum along with you. This is, of course, Funky Revolutions. Today we collaborate with Kathy Kennedy. It's Hum here in the streets of Montreal on Boulevard Saint-Laurent between Sherbrooke and Mount Royal today.
Pendant les prochaines 30 minutes, vous pouvez redonner avec nous et écouter de temps en temps. Vous pouvez faire n'importe quelle note pendant n'importe quelle durée. Il n'y a pas de mauvaise note. Alors, amusez-vous et redonnez avec nous.
Everyone to participate by humming along. Over as large a physical space as possible, performers, and hopefully spectators as well, try to fill the area with the sound of human voices. Toronto, Kingston, Vancouver, and Lima, Peru, but the Montreal one was the most strategically organized. Along Saint Laurent Street, the city's central artery, dividing east and west, and arguably the two prevailing cultures of French and English, the hum represents a non-verbal, more organic form of expression. During the street's sidewalk sale, a massively frenetic consumer event, we decided to try to infuse that area with this non-verbal, organic kind of communication. We've been desensitized by our modern world of electronically transmitted voices and have collectively forgotten the integral connection of body and voice. So the piece offers us the possibility of regaining that by humming and listening while we walk.
also an inquiry into what we conceive generally as public and private space, and how we define those two entities. I've always felt that sound is territory, and we're constantly being colonized by consumer-based sounds. Is a simple human vocal sound that actually delineates our own space around us. It's a simple action, but one that has radical overtones in terms of defining our own space.
Broadcast live in streets in Montreal with participants coming on Soundwalking.
We were humming at the corner booth, and then we were taken over
I want to do tonight has no recording at all. It's based on a lullaby that I heard on the bus, on the 51 bus on the way to work one day, and I have no recording equipment with me. So I repeated it in my head silently, so as not to annoy the person who was actually singing it for the first time and to make sure I got it. And I sang it all day in my head until I had it memorized. And it's now one of my favorite songs. And I want to do a little vocal experiment with everyone as well. So this is my idea. First of all, I'll sing the lullaby at regular speed so you can hear what it sounds like. And then I'm going to start singing it with 1 syllable per breath, so a lot slower than the normal speed. And after I've sung a couple of syllables, I'd like you to feel free to join in with any song that you remember that is a simple song, like maybe a lullaby or a children's song or something simple that you know, and do the same thing so that you're singing 1 syllable per breath. Don't worry about how long your breaths are, it doesn't matter. So we'll just try this and see what it sounds like. In our rehearsal the other day with just 4 of us, it sounded amazing. So with this number of people, it's going to sound fantastic. So here's the lullaby to start with. don't bring them. We're doing a panel at the International Association for the Study of Popular Music, Canadian chapter, which Owen is involved in organizing, also in June. And the third thing in June is we're doing an installation with 4 dancers and a choreographer at a dance conference at York University. So the installation is a different part of the project where it's computer-based installation using a web camera to track gestural information in the space, so that 4 people in the space can basically mix 4 soundscape files each. And those soundscape or excerpts would come from sound walks that each of those 4 people had done. So that's what the dancers are going to be doing with us, is doing sound walks, and then we'll be working with those sound walks to create choreography and using the installation to create choreography as well. So those are the next things happening this summer, the project. Yes? Owen.
I see why. It's great to be here. I'm sorry I didn't get here early enough to say hello. But it's really wonderful to be exposed to the work, and to ask a short question, I wonder how you chose the sites in Montreal that you ended up visiting with CY and recording and incorporating into videos. Like, is there a process, or were you just going to some of your favorite places?
Andra?
What was that, how?
Yeah, with me.
Yes?
Where's the music coming from?
Where's the music coming from? I have no idea. So to answer your question, Owen, about the places, we were in touch by email a fair bit over the preceding months, and we wanted to go to markets because when I had been in Kuala Lumpur, I'd been quite interested in the markets there and the sounds of the markets. And I had also done a sound walk last fall with Rainer Wiens at Jean Talon Market and at this Thai Hour store up at, what is it, Jean Talon and Saint-Denis. And loved the ambience in there, the kind of friendly ambience of that store and the liveliness of it as well. So when Siew Wai said she had done some recording in a market, I thought it would be very interesting to kind of bring these different spaces together in one piece. And the other, I mean, we were partly deciding on the basis of weather. If it had been really cold, we were going to do the underground city, as a survival tactic. But actually the weather was quite good that weekend. So the Old Port, partly because of the connection to my previous Lachine Canal research, and also thinking about spring, because the weather was in such flux at that point that I thought there would be some interesting springtime sounds, and there were, the red-winged blackbirds were back, for instance. And then Montreal, well, it was Sunday and we knew the Tam-Tams would be playing, and I thought that would be a good introduction to Montreal for Siew Wai as well. But really, we had made the final decisions fairly quickly, and depending on the weather and discussing what we thought would work at the time.
Thank you.
Okay, well, now that we've sung lullabies to each other, go home and sleep well. Can you put the Hal back on? I'm curious about this music now.
Maybe you have to ask for the microphone.
Hal? Hal? I think my microphone's off. Oh no, it's on there.
Yeah.
What did you say? Did you say you were hearing music?
We're hearing guitar. dark in the background. You don't know where it's coming from. It's not coming from you, it's coming from our side, and we're not playing anything, it just started very strangely.
Wow. Well, as long as it goes with soundscape recordings.
It's very weird. It just started, we can't find where it's coming from. It's just two chords going over and over and over again. We don't see you, we just have the little picture of Montreal on the screen.
Oh, okay. We can see you though, so be careful what you do over there.
I'm standing. We had people come and go because they have to go to class, but we had a little audience for a while.
We saw them. Yeah, we were impressed. It was really well featured. Yes.
And we were also commenting on spring in Montreal and how little greenery there still is. That you were in the park in the snow.
Yeah, well, we kept seeing snow. We saw snow on, I said to Siew Wai at one point, that's the last snow you'll see, and I was wrong.
Yes, we know that in Montreal, don't we?
Never. Never say never.
Yeah, right. Never say never. Okay.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you for getting up so early, Hal.
No, it's not early at all. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I have to be at work at 9. Thank you guys for staying up late. It's 10 o'clock at night. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, hello to everybody there, and thank you. We'll see what we can do from our side the next time. Maybe we'll put a collection of some of the work from the gang here and show it the other direction.
That sounds great. Okay, see you
Okay,
next time, Hal.
Yeah, okay. Bye to everybody.
Bye. Well, no, actually Siew Wai was saying that was the first time that she's made a video to improvise with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was fun to see you looking and trying to figure out what you should be making in terms of sound. And you practiced.
We had looked at an earlier version and there were things that we liked and didn't like, and we kind of talked about what would work better to
It's also, the time frame is short, because basically I only have 1 week, or less than 1 week.
to do all the editing.
To do all the editing.
Wow.
So, and it's done this morning.
Yeah, final mix of everything was this morning.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting experience for me, because usually I make video like as a self-contained video. It's not for performance.
Yeah.
So it's just like the approach of creating the video is a little bit different, because then I need to, in order for the performers to be a little bit more having space and a little bit more imaginative. Yeah, so it's a little bit different mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting project to keep extending. It's trying to think about ways to do kind of video works that then are meant to be performed in different locations. So,
Thanks for witnessing my first attempt.